Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Dollars and Dirhams. Today we have with us Meeta Gupta. Meeta is a veteran banker with over 30 years of a corporate career in the financial domain and has transitioned over the last 5 years into the space of financial literacy for women, empowering women in the space of financial decisions. And she has been running Moolah for Women for the last 5 years as the founder. Thank you so much for joining us today, Meeta.
Thank you so much, Sumeet, for this lovely opportunity, and I'm super excited to talk to you today.
Thank you. So today we are getting into this fascinating discussion about the world of investing when it comes to women. Now, women have been amazing investors. They take amazing different decisions from men. They have an edge when it comes to investing, and we'll get into more details later. But would love to know, Meeta, what is your experience when it comes to investing and women, since you have worked so closely with both over the last couple of years of your role at Moolah?
So thank you for that question, Sumeet. I think this is a very, very pertinent question when it comes to women and finance, because ultimately the idea of finance when it comes to women is at the end of it investing, right? Because you need to invest your money so that your financial goals can be met. And if a woman is capable of handling her own investing decisions, it becomes so much more easier for herself and for her family. So I definitely think that, the whole paradigm of women earlier being just homemakers and women, staying away from the world of investing has now shifted towards women becoming in charge of their money. And that's beautiful, because you can see that women now want to take charge of their money. They want to learn how to go about investing, how to take these decisions, and each of these things then empowers them further to take more on their plate, right? And I can see that shift happening with time.
Right. No, I totally agree. Now, women tend to be better investors. They tend to ride out turbulent market times, do less of speculation, are more inclined towards ethical investing. And yet we see a gap between the confidence in them and the self-perception in terms of being able to take those decisions for the family. There is a hesitation.
True.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's again more cultural. Women, you are right, are much better decision makers. They have a longer term approach to taking decisions for their family, and they think more family rather than individual. So as a woman, one does have a longer horizon. They're more disciplined in their approach, and all of those things work very positively when it comes to managing your money. The sad part is, yes, you're right, women are not confident. And probably the reason is because they haven't done it. If you haven't done something enough, how do you get the confidence, right? I think anything to develop confidence needs more and more of working on it, right? And the more women start getting into this domain of investing, the confidence will develop. And I think one more point which I would like to say is, of course, knowledge.
Right.
Right? Knowledge, skills, competence, all these things are extremely important in anyone developing confidence. And so is it with investing for women, right? And I think the moment women start taking that responsibility and onus on themselves, that they wish to learn and not depend on somebody else to take their financial decisions, I think the whole confidence will shift more towards
Breaking down the stereotype.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, in terms of the cultural differences, and I would say the gender, focus in terms of what you're good at, what you're not, you are the bread earner, you are the one who runs the house. While we're breaking down all those stereotypes, and the confidence has to be gained, like you said, through knowledge, through skills, but how do they get off? What is the first step you think in that direction to get off on that journey?
So again, it all boils down to whether you are really wanting it for yourself. If you can take the horse to the water, but you cannot make the horse drink water till they are ready to drink it. Right. So I think what is the most important factor is the woman ready to actually jump into the world of managing her own money and taking her own financial decisions, whether it's investing her money or any other financial decision for that matter. And I think the moment you've taken that decision once yourself, that yes, I am responsible for myself and for my family, and I will take those decisions, your journey is begun. The next stage then is to get a safe environment which is conducive for you to learn and grow. And I think that is something which is now getting created in terms of an ecosystem where women can find a safe space to learn and to thrive. So, if I can just say one more point here, is that, women think differently from men. Their whole way of thinking about money or their use of money is very different. From a man thinks of money as a thing of power, as a thing of, or something which gives him more strength, more power and importance. Whereas for a woman, it's security.
Security, yeah.
Right? So the moment a woman starts thinking that I need to be responsible for my security and I don't need to depend on anybody else for that security, the journey begins.
Well, that's a big one. The conditioning of the mind, right? Breaking stereotypes, taking on the cultural gender expectations and roles. I know you do a lot at Moolah, and I've been part of some of those workshops and seminars, and I've seen the kind of impact you have made firsthand, on lives of people, not just in terms of their financial literacy, but their self-confidence, their self-worth, and, trying to make themselves better at whatever they do, not just, and it starts from there, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Your financial independence translates into your confidence, sense of, worth improves, and your relationships improve. Would love to hear what you are doing at Moolah in terms of that journey that you have had for the last 5 years, and you're doing a lot more in terms of workshops. How has that been? And what are you doing at Moolah in terms of contributing in this space?
So, Sumeet, I think it's been a wonderful learning journey for me also, as I've, kind of grown myself with Moolah for Women. And I do see, and now I have started calling Moolah for Women. I used to earlier call it a financial empowerment platform, but now I call it beyond financial empowerment. Because I realized that the moment a woman has decided to take charge of her finances, there are many changes which happen in her, which, like you said, building confidence. Like I actually know this lady who is 29-year-old girl, and she came to me and she was like, oh, I have a car, I've bought it, but I don't think I'll ever be able to drive it. I still take a bus to office. And 3 months after she joined Moolah, she learned to drive the car. She's now driving herself to office. Now, does that have anything to do with financial empowerment?
Not directly.
Not directly, right? But you can see the way she's conducting herself even in her office. So something as simple as asking for a promotion, asking for a salary raise. So all these things start happening to a woman when they start getting confident about their money and start getting in charge of their money. Because then they're, oh, I save so much. You've started budgeting now, and you now start understanding that if I budget and if I take a car, I save so much more as compared to when I take an Uber or when I take a bus. And so all the math starts adding up. So it's really beautiful the way you see women actually transition in many, many aspects of their life.
And I think the partnership between, in a marriage, in a husband and wife, I think it becomes even more equal when the woman steps up, not just as a spender, but a person who understands how the money is being spent, and the husband doesn't have to manage her expectations, but it's a partnership in the true sense.
I 100% agree with you on that one. In fact, I tell a lot of women this only, that think about the pressure we put on the men of our house, because they are the sole bread earners. They're the ones who have to manage the family security. They have to take care of you, the kids, and everybody, not only today, but till the end of your life. Right? And it's so much of a pressure on a man. In fact, there are so many men who want their women to start taking charge and playing an active role in managing finances along with them, or at least be aware. Even if they don't manage it, awareness itself leads to a lot more comfort for the man in the house. So 100%, I think, the relationship and then the money conversations start happening in the dinner table.
Right.
So everybody benefits from that. The kids benefit, the wife is now talking to the husband. It's not a taboo subject anymore. So the whole conversation around money and the relationship with money becomes positive.
Right.
And all of those things are such beautiful things. So not only your relationship with your husband improves, but your relationship with money in general also improves.
So in your experience, while we have this discussion on women starting on the journey, what do you think is the first step to that? They have the conversation with people who matter in their lives, or they have access to the funds they want to start investing. But what you think is the number one step in terms of getting started?
I think personally, I feel that you have to know that somebody has your back. If as a woman, don't think about just finance, think about anything. If you're scared of driving or of riding a bike, what do you want? You want some trainer wheels, you want somebody to hold you from the back and say, listen, I'm there. If you fall, you won't get hurt.
Right.
And I'll see that you don't fall and don't get badly hurt. It's the same logic in investing or managing your money. If there can be somebody, whether it's a community, whether it's a mentor, whether it's somebody who can create a non-judgment space for you, a safe space for you, where you can learn, where you can ask questions, where no question is stupid, right? Because we are always fearful of people judging us. Oh, you don't even understand this much. Oh, this is such a basic thing. Can one find a space which is judgment-free?
Right.
Which makes you ask questions, because everybody is in the same boat. Everybody is in the same space, and you don't have that fear of people judging you or thinking that, oh, you're so dumb or stupid or any of those things.
Right. On a different note, the common perception is that women are risk averse. Is that a myth? Is that something you see when you talk to women? Because I have a very aggressive portfolio, so I would love to know what has your experience been?
No, so you that question is a very, very important question, because I'll tell you an example. So there was this person who is a tribe member of Moolah, and she's an engineer. And initially, whenever she used to go to advisor or something, and they used to ask her, what is their risk appetite? And which is what happened. I also know a doctor who has done that. So there are various women who haven't understood or haven't had a formal training in finance, because obviously they're from the world of arts, they're from the world of science, and all of those. For all those reasons, they haven't had an exposure to finance. And when they go to an advisor and the advisor asks them, what's your risk appetite? You don't want to lose your money. So you'll say, oh, I am risk averse, right? And what will the advisor understand from that? The advisor will understand that that person is risk averse, so we should not put that person's money into something which is risky. Now, that same woman, after going through my program, understood what risk meant.
Right.
And once she understood what risk meant, it wasn't that the risk-return relationship. That if you don't take risks, you will not get a return.
Right.
At the same time, to understand that when you take a risk, you don't it's like if you want to do skydiving, you don't just fall off the plane.
Right.
You don't jump off a plane, right? You take all the right precautions before jumping out of the plane, and then you're like 95% sure that everything will be fine.
So the research talking about.
Right. So the research and all of that, and literacy and understanding of various asset classes, what are the risks associated with it. And once that understanding improves, your risk appetite improves. And you start understanding what really risk meant. When a financial advisor is asking you, what's your risk appetite, you don't even know what to answer.
Right.
Right? And so as a human being, we're all risk averse. But as your knowledge and understanding increases, your risk appetite increases. And since you are one of those intelligent investors and you understand finance, obviously your risk appetite
One
is
is
higher.
intelligence, but also like at Continental, we don't just leave it to the client's perception of what they think their risk appetite is. We have a whole series of questions which are marked, and then basis the responses, we assign a risk profile. The client might choose to disagree, right? We might say you're a balanced investor, and he said, no, I'm conservative. But there is an approach based on research and based on what perceived risk is across asset classes to determine the client's risk appetite, not just based on perception alone.
No, 100%. So I agree with what you're saying, Sumeet, that we as professionals, we do have a formal system to determine risk. But if a person has never been exposed to equity, right, you will not, from the very first point, put a person into giving a higher equity exposure. You'll probably get them to slowly warm up to an equity exposure, right?
Right.
But for a person who understands what's equity, what's debt, and what's the difference, you'll be more amenable to saying that, okay, let's take a larger equity exposure for that person, or let's get a larger risk for that riskier asset for that person. And that's what that understanding of finance helps the person to understand.
Absolutely, I agree. So, Meeta, one question on the practical side. What would you say is the number one step a woman should take to practically begin this journey of investing?
Sumeet, I think for every woman, the first and the most important thing that has to happen is the woman should have an individual bank account.
Okay.
So every woman should have an individual bank account separate from her partner.
Separate from her partner?
Yes. Joint account, fair enough, but you have an individual account. The next thing is start putting money into that account. So how? Start taking out small amounts of money, whether it's from your income which you're earning. So I always give the SFSL mantra, which is save first, spend later. Which means if you save first before you spend, you will have savings which starts getting built up. Right. But if you save after you've spent, you'll have no saving left because money has a way to go. Right? So you'll just spend your money and you'll never land up saving. So yes, at least 20% of whatever income you get or whatever other source of money you have, whether it's your gifts or your husband's giving you a budget to manage the house, if you can pinch out 20% of whatever earning or source of income you have, a source of money you have, and set it aside and keep it in the bank.
Right.
And keep increasing it and don't touch it. Okay, the one question I get generally asked is, now I have so much, can I take it out? No, you can't take it out. Keep saving that money till at least you have an emergency fund created, which means at least 3 to 6 months of expenses start building up and create an emergency fund. And I think that is the first step. A lot of women, in fact, just yesterday I did one of these webinars and one of these women asked me that question, that where do I begin? In the sense that the same question, right? And can I start investing? So my advice to her was that first have an emergency fund. Investing comes after that, right? You can't just start investing your money the moment you have a little bit of money.
Right.
So that's...
It's been so lovely to have you here today with us, Meeta. Is there anything else you would like to add in terms of what you feel is the right way, or what kind of a mentorship women can benefit from when starting out on this journey? Anything you would like to add there in terms of your association, your experience, especially with the Moolah platform?
At Moolah, we are based on 3 pillars: mindset, knowledge, and action. So the first pillar is mindset. When we talk about mindset, it's basically mindset about who am I? I'm worthy. I'm capable of taking my own decisions. I'm capable of being financially free, financially independent. So it's about awareness about self and a confidence building about self that I am worthy of being financially free.
Right.
Once you've agreed to that and you've kind of changed your mindset, we then start providing you knowledge. Now, knowledge again is of 2 kinds. Knowledge is, first is about self-awareness in the sense that, what do I want? What are my financial goals? Why do I want to be financially independent, right? So once you understood yourself, then of course we provide all the tools and all the knowledge that you need to take all your financial decisions independently. So be it any topic, things like what are loans, what are
credit
cards, right? Or what are investments, what are mutual funds, how do you invest in a real estate, should you buy your house or should you rent a house? Any kind of question that you have in terms of financial decision making starts becoming easier, and you start understanding how to take those decisions. So the knowledge piece happens. And then there is no point of having knowledge if you can't act.
Right.
right? And women have now just acquired some basic knowledge. They still don't have the confidence to do it all on their own.
Right.
And neither do they have the trust, right? They don't know who to trust still.
Right.
Who should they go to? How should they go about starting their investment journey? And that's where the third pillar comes in, which is action. Here, what we do is we actually have associated ourselves with some financial advisors and wealth planners with who we actually get the financial plan done for these women and then also help them in their investment journey. So it's like a full 180 degree
Right.
from making them understand what is it, changing their mindset, and then actually getting them to make their financial plan and start their investment journey. And of course, the other fourth, if I may say, it's not a pillar really, but it's community. So at Moolah, we also provide a community for people, right?
Yes.
Which then gives a support system. And that's really beautiful because we all pull each other up, we kind of push each other, we're each other's accountability partner, and all of those things really
Coffee
help.
with Tribe. It's
Right?
such a lovely experience.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Meeta. It was lovely to talk to you today. And for our viewers and listeners, this is the right time. You've all been thinking about it. If you've ever had any doubts whatsoever, this is the time. Start investing with confidence and start now. Thank you.